It should come as no surprise that people have been leaving the theaters after watching the latest Jordan Peele movie, Nope, with a lot of questions and ideas to ponder. The Comedy Central sketch actor has been riding quite the wave since his directorial debut, Get Out, was a critically acclaimed smash hit that nobody saw coming. And while a great many see him as incredibly overrated, and his films as being a bit too riddled with plot holes, since being at the helm of his own studio, he's been tackling bigger and bigger projects, taking with him his grandiose visions, and simultaneously proving to Hollywood that there's more to the horror genre than just copying and pasting the Conjuring movies over and over again.
Simplifying this by saying it's Jordan Peele's Alien movie. But if I were to come to you and say, this is Jordan Peele doing Jaws, to me you would say what?
You know, I would say thank you.
He's been pretty open about his inspirations and creative process over the years. Before people made comparisons between Get Out and The Stepford Wives, Peele continuously talked about the 1975 film as a source for his premise.
You see, Ed hated tennis, but he never said a word. All he wanted to do was to please me.
And again, in his follow-up movie, Us, he revealed that he wanted to explore some of the deeper themes present in a Twilight Zone episode where a girl meets her doppelganger. But the biggest thing that's kept most people from saying that he's drifting into plagiarizing territory is how much of his own personality and style permeate through these films. Love the guy or hate him, it's hard not to respect someone who's got big aspirations for a film and then pretty much goes full send for the entire runtime, regardless of whether or not it makes total sense by the end of it. He won't dump unnecessary stuff in there or try to bury dialogue in exposition, and you can tell that there's very little studio or production company interference that's urging him to water down or appeal to a wider audience for ticket sales. The guy's out here on his own, in the middle of nowhere, and boy, is he hoping to catch one hell of a fish. This video will be broken down into 3 parts: the filming styles, then the plot similarities, and ending with some underlying themes of both movies. So suffices to say, from here on out, you've been warned, there will be spoilers flying off the handlebars at pretty much complete random, but I'll do my best to keep most of the major ones for the section on the plot. Timestamps and whatnot.
You get all this for just $19.95, but...
So if you haven't seen the movie yet...
Why are you here? I don't know, so hit me.
Whether you enjoy it or not, I still think there's an interesting discussion here. I was one of those people who liked talking about the movie Us and its many layers more than I actually liked the movie itself. So with that in mind, I'll leave a few ideas up in the air just to hear what you think.
You're gonna need a longer video.
You're not wrong. Let's get into it. It's practically common knowledge now that the movie that pretty much created the summer blockbuster was largely the result of turning one production disaster after another into some of the greatest aspects of Steven Spielberg's Jaws.
The motorboat went so fast, it pulled the shiv and the planking out from the hull of the Orchestra.
Power the boat as fast as it would toward the beach. Water started
Get the actors off the boat.
Freddie Zendar.
Get the actors off the boat.
Okay, maybe not like you're a director almost drowning or crew members about to throw hands on numerous occasions, but morale was so low on the set that the crew even nicknamed the movie Flaws.
The shark is not working. The shark is not working. Repeat, the shark is...
Despite numerous issues, like problems with the shark they'd built sinking or just generally looking not real at all, this all led to the minimalist Hitchcock approach that the legend himself even praised.
If you took the audience right in and got an impression of a face, a hand, an arm, and feet and everything, you'd involve the audience much closer.
The now iconic floating barrels and shark fin might seem as genius ways to build tension and the fear of the unknown now, but the idea came from a lack of footage of the shark in the $9 million shark movie. And of course, nothing sells believability quite as well as three main actors in the movie that are giving groundbreaking performances even when they knew the shark they were looking at looked absolutely ridiculous. The legacy of things like the first-person monster angles, hysterical reaction shots, and obscured views to build suspense cannot be overstated. Many movies since have used these filming techniques with great results. However, the filming style and props used in Jordan Peele's Nope seems to be a more direct nod than most movies. Like the shark, the UFO is hardly even in the first two acts of the movie, relying on brief glances or after effects of the attack. The yellow barrels are replaced by concession flags, and like the posters accurately portray, a good amount of the movie just shows the cast pretty much doing this.
If I can get my audience to feel like they're near a UFO for moments, well,
Throughout both movies, the tone bounces back and forth between tense and funny quite effortlessly. Nope, like Jaws, also contains moments of spectacle, adventure, and surprisingly triumph. Peele was determined to make his next film one with more wonder, like in King Kong or Jurassic Park, to get people excited to go back to the cinema. All of this culminates in a movie that's competently shot, like a true suspense thriller, a patient dialogue-filled comedy, and a heroic western. The story in Nope is also eerily similar to the characters and plot of Jaws. We begin with a mysterious death that many have already begun attributing false circumstances towards, and a main character who's suspicious and knows that there's something strange happening. Our protagonist this time around isn't quite an outsider who's struggling to fit in with the locals. Instead, he's more outspoken and just trying to get by while staying true to his values. Brody, in a way, resembled this kind of everyman trope that works well as a surrogate for the audience who doesn't know much about sharking or deep-sea diving.
Why do you have to tell him that? Sorry.
And Daniel Kaluuya exists in the story in a similar way. He's an actor that commands scenes not by talking more than everyone else in the room, but by his natural reactions and common man emotions and behaviors. His first reaction to seeing the UFO is a perfect moment in the film, partly because that's exactly how anyone in his position would likely react.
Door's open, but you want to let that breathe for nothing.
Next, we're introduced to his sister, played by Keke Palmer, who nearly steals every scene she's in. She's eccentric, hilarious, hot-tempered, egotistical, brave, and clever. Easily the movie's most compelling character. And alright, this is where I'm gonna lose like more than half of you, but she reminded me a lot of...
Excuse me, Chief.
Robert Shaw was phenomenal as the hardened, loose-cannon sailor Quint, who as a character was charismatic, old-fashioned, and determined. A real Swiss Army knife for the movie's serious moments, humor, and everything in between.
The head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
Quint's personality is also shared by another one of the film's smaller roles, but more on him in a bit. Huh, they even kind of look and talk alike. I hope this guy doesn't also...
Jesus H. Christ.
Anyway, Nope really gets going when the family horse ranch starts seeing financial troubles and their lifeline is hurting them more than it's helping. He's a bit like the Amity mayor.
Never compare me to the Jaws mayor. Never!
A guy blinded by his desire for popularity, money, or both, and a deeply troubled person who lets his own traumas get the better of him. He even knowingly and gleefully puts people in an unsafe position only to later deeply regret his decision when the real danger in the film is finally realized.
My kids will not be true.
Now, many people watching a movie like Nope know that as much as the movie is about a UFO terrorizing a small farm, it's also layered with a sizable amount of subplots and subtext that can dominate the plot of the movie, like the idea that the UFO is not just the answer to whether or not we're alone in the universe or something representing a test of survival, but for most of the characters in the movie, it's a chance to get famous. Peele's commentary on the modern age's yearning for stardom and a chance to go viral, meaning it's more important for these three to get a photo or a video of the thing than it is to just get the heck out of there. The motley crew aboard the Orca are undergoing similar kinds of personal conflicts. Hooper is more obsessed with studying the shark, coming at the problem from the angle of science. Quint practically has a spiritual connection to the thing, and he's just really here for the challenge. And Brody could care less, as long as the job gets done. However, the thing that builds the audience's investment is their confidence. In both Nope and Jaws, the teams are pretty convinced that they can get the better of the monster with relative ease. And it's only until later in the films that they realize how outmatched they truly are, and you see their hope fade to desperation.
You got any better suggestions?
In the third act of both movies, everyone is doing whatever they can to survive and to achieve their ultimate goal, putting their wits and grit to the true test right up to the final moments. All this leads me to what I think is one of the bigger overarching themes of both movies. And bear with me here because, as people have been analyzing Jaws for decades now, Nope has barely been out for over a week. But both films are begging audiences to respect the destructive powers of nature, and how some animals, even if seemingly harmless, can become dangerous without even a moment's warning or any remorse. A true man versus nature type of storytelling like the great lessons of Moby Dick. Still, the fear hits a bit different in Nope, in a way that I think should click with more people than just the post-Jaws viewing beachgoers. If Jaws made people afraid of the open ocean, then Nope should make people fear for their own desires for fame. The relentlessness of the great white monster and the unquenchable seeking of stardom is the core to overcome in both of these stories. And with that, here's to hoping that the messages of both Nope and Jaws resonate well.
Here's to swimming with bow-legged women.